Just some random thoughts as I wake up, fire up the old laptop for school. Recently, there is a show on Amazon Prime called The Boys. And I have this, no longer have a friend. We ended our friendship. He ended it because I kept calling out Trump's bullshit. And he is a hardcore Trump supporter, so he has severe cognitive dissonance, where Trump can do no wrong, and anything wrong that Trump did is automatically the fault of the Democrats and the deep state and so forth and so on, by default. And Trump is like a god or an angel or, Jesus incarnate. So he recommended that I watch The Boys because he still consumes that brainwashing goy slop media. Mental diarrhea, psychological goy slop. But then, because of my education, both self-education and now official university education of psychology, I couldn't help but repeatedly notice, basically observe and identify psychologically manipulative content, right? Subversive propaganda in media, like The Boys, season 1. So I not only stopped watching it, I communicated these things to him, and he experienced dissonance from what I was saying because he could tell it was true, but he couldn't. It was like a drug addict. He couldn't give up his shows, his favorite actors, etc. Strong emotional bonds to fictional characters and whatnot. Which means Trump public persona is a fictional character that this man and many others have an emotional bond for. Or two, I should say. They have become emotionally attached to a fiction. The fictional character of Trump's public persona. Which contradicts itself constantly, right? The many faces of Trump often oppose the other faces of Trump. But I digress. So, recently on 9gag, the normies, the Goyim, have been hate posting and anger posting about season 4 of that show, The Boys, having a homosexual scene in the movie. I got a response. And in that homosexual scene, 2 men kissed. They were men of color. And these people were upset. I don't understand why they were upset, because it's been obvious to me from season 1 that it was a very woke show, despite pretending to be anti-woke. So that's just beyond me, but it's fun to witness people struggle with their cognitive dissonance about what they wanted to believe, contradicting the reality in front of their eyes. But I digress. So, I got on YouTube on my smartphone, which means my main Google my main Google account. And YouTube suggested The Boys, a clip, so I clicked it. And it brought up the memories of, the context that I had completely forgotten about. Well, they had, in the original comic book, a male represent Germany in World War II, the Nazis with the swastika and everything. But by that same subversive wokeness, they turned the character female. But she was a Stormer or something, after Dr. Stormer, right? The Daily Stormer. Or the SS, etc. And the descriptive context that I had seen was that Germany, the Homelander, who of course represents the United States, the Superman of the policeman of the world, can defeat Germany, but Germany makes him, shiver in his spine a little bit or whatever. I forgot about it. Garbage propaganda show. Pure degeneracy. Corrosive, subversive, etc. Morally corrosive, intellectually corrosive, etc. Well, I watched this clip on YouTube that suggested, and it shows a woman burned with her arm amputated almost perfectly where mine is, but right hand, not left. And she's talking in German, and I realized, oh, this is supposed to symbolize Germany, all the German soldiers that after the war were starved to death and brutalized, tortured, beaten, burned alive, etc. Dresden, perhaps, Gotcha. Those observations are all connected. The feminism of changing the male character female, the anti-Nazism, and the people of color kissing. The men of color kissing, or the gayness. So I realize there's layers and levels of propaganda and subversion. I mean, I've realized this a long time ago, but reminded of it. And I was aware of it at a deeper level from season 1, episode 1. And the normies barely became aware of it at far blatant and beyond the surface level. And I find that interesting because that means Jews are the most evil people on the planet. Because they're the most intelligent. And the more intelligent you get, the more amoral you become. So morality is subjective or circumstantial. After World War II, they found a letter in the German consulate of Lebanon. Israel wanted an alliance with Germany if Germany had won the war. Israel's only your friend if you have something they can use, if you are of benefit to them, if you are winning, if you are on top, if you are in a position of power. If you lose, you're not the friend now. You're the enemy because you lost. Because you're no longer useful, you're a cost, not a profit. And I see that in other aspects of literally Jewish-controlled media. Marvel is a great example of that, so is DC. You can Google it. There's Jewish artists who created these characters and drew them. So, with DC and Marvel and etc. The wire is nice. Excuse me 1 second. I saw through the internet, through memes, a comic book panel where Magneto was brutalizing the Red Skull. Now these are all symbolic. All these characters are symbolism, and that's part of the psychological manipulation. The Red Skull symbolizes communism. But the communists had saved the Jews from the camps. The Red Army did more to defeat the Nazis than the Allies, the American Allies, I should say, or the British even. The Red Army did the majority of it. And Magneto is supposed to be a Holocaust survivor. So the Jew, Magneto, is betraying his savior, the Red Army, the Red Skull, because he's evil, right? No gratitude, no thank you so much, Red Army, for rescuing us from the camps. No, it's, this is what's most profitable in this moment. And so you see that about globalist Jews and their agenda is they're very pragmatic, they're very practical. And that's how they do, that's why they do it, I imagine, on all these different levels, right? Different layers and levels of analysis can show their efficacy. The efficacy of their pragmatism is very apparent in the results, in the efficacy of their methods, the effectiveness.